Hello everyone, Grada Robertson here. Welcome to my page and welcome to Monday night 8 o'clock with Grada. And over the next 20 minutes I am going to work with you to release some energy blocks that you might have, so you feel lighter at the end of after 20 minutes. That's all we're going to take. And today I want to focus on the energy of guilt, because guilt is a very, very common emotion. It's not a pleasant one. And what I see in my clients is that it often causes them to put on the brake. So they're like a car with the handbrake on, and one foot on the accelerator, the other one on the handbrake is on. And this is what it's like when you have guilt running the show in your body. And many of us have guilt, that low density energy in our body, because it's basically been drummed into us from birth, like we've been guilted as children by our parents and by school and by religion and you name it, and it sort of goes everywhere in our body. When I work with my clients, I work with this, I work through their chakra system or their energetic system. That's when healing can happen really, really fast. And what I see is that guilt doesn't just sit in one chakra, because often issues will find their home in one chakra system, right? So jealousy issues will sit in one chakra, and so on. But guilt is like one of those sneaky energies that can literally be hiding in any of your chakras. So that shows to me that it permeates potentially every part of your being, and it can run the show in the background of your life, because this is the thing. We are so used to feeling it that we actually don't know that it's there anymore. It's like a fish in the sea. The fish doesn't know that it's swimming in the water. At least that's what the stories that you hear, right? And so I want to have some fun with it, so stick with me, even though it's a heavy, sticky energy and it's not something that we like to feel or that we like to pay attention to. Trust me, when you work with guilt and you learn to recognize it, and I'm going to give you some tools that are going to be really helpful, that'll turn your life around. You're just going to feel so much freer and healthier as well. So unless you really are guilty of some sort of action that you've willfully hurt somebody in the past, right? That's the only time that you actually need to take action, take accountability and go to that person and set it right. Other than that, all guilty feelings, the energy of guilt is like a tremendous waste of your energy that can literally take up 30 or 40% of your energy every day. So let's tune into the energy of guilt a little bit. So let me just talk about myself for a second, so that you understand maybe how it shows up for you. So guilt will show up for me by Monday, right? Because I don't see clients on Friday, Saturday or Sunday. So I usually have like 3 days. My mind, it's a thought that pops into my mind that goes like, okay, now you've had 3 days off. Shouldn't you be seeing some clients again? There are people that need you, And I intentionally have Mondays off. Monday is my free day. And I really struggle with that at a certain old-fashioned level of my deep programming still. But I am committed to healing it and releasing it. And so Mondays is usually my day where I like to read, I like to write, I do some research, I do all my favorite things. I have a cup of tea or coffee in the sun. It's just simple, basic pleasures in life, and I really, really enjoy myself. And so the more my enjoyment goes up, if it gets too intense, guilt will come along and cut me off at the knees. And so many of you would probably recognize that feeling, that if you're having too much fun, let's say you're working in the garden or lying on the beach, you know what makes you guilty. If you feel brave enough, you can put it in the comments. I'd love to know how guilt sneaks up on you, right? And I also want you to know that on a spiritual level, in the spirit realm, in the energetic realm, guilt is always, how do I say it, it's not needed for us. It's not a good motivator. It's not a good, it's actually a complete waste of energy that creates disconnect within us and creates disconnect between us and our purpose, and also between us and our loved ones, right? So it's a human construct, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a mental construct, it's a mind construct, it's a lie. There's nothing to be guilty that you need to be guilty for. And so in a minute, like I said, I'll give you some tools that are going to help. But before we do that, I would like you to get a pen and paper and just scribble down 5 words. So there are 5 areas of your life that guilt can show up. If you like to play this exercise 100% with me, I'm going to help you. So we're going to break the piece of pie down into 5 areas, right? And to make it simple, there is 5 F words. So the first one is finances. The F for finances, I'll talk about it in a minute. The F for fitness, the F for family, hang on a sec, fitness, finance, fun, faith, family, and fitness. So faith means your relationship with the universe, or your relationship with God, or your relationship with the invisible world. So these 5 areas, they pretty much run every aspect of our life. They're like 5 cylinders in a car, and when you have guilt sticking around, that will clog up your cylinder and you'll spring an oil leak, or you'll blow a head gasket, and now the engine doesn't go as well, right? You've probably all felt like that suddenly you don't have as much energy, or suddenly you lose your energy, you spring a leak somewhere. And so often, if you can't understand why this has suddenly happened to you, a classic one, by the way, is when people plan their holidays, and they plan a holiday of a lifetime, and when you get there, people either have arguments, the relationship breaks down, or people get sick. So that's a classic. And what's underneath that is guilt. So that would be in the fun department. So if you look at the fun section, how often is your fun, spoiled? And fun can be like family time, when you enjoy yourself, when you play music, when you listen to music, when you go on holidays, or do all the things that normally give you fun. How does guilt show up like that for you? So you can actually write it down for yourself, so that you get some awareness around it. Because till we get consciousness or awareness around guilt, we literally can't fix it. It's like if the gasket, if a cylinder in your motor is broken, the mechanic needs to have a look at it, doesn't he, to fix it. So finances, of course, are a huge one, so they can be at the top. We pretty much all have guilt issues around money. Because, for instance, if you are doing well right now during the COVID season, and so many people are suffering, so many people on the mainland are in lockdown, that also they don't have any fun. So there's the fun thing. People often think, well, I shouldn't be having so much fun, or I shouldn't be able to save money or put money away towards a holiday or whatever. So that's how the guilt can show up. Or it can show up that you feel like I never have enough money to pay the bills, I'm not earning enough to support my partner or my spouse, that sort of thing. So guilt will show up like that as well. So I want you to write that down, so you really get to know yourself. And the biggest one, perhaps even bigger than finance, is family, right? So especially this really affects women and mothers. So when you're a mom, it just feels like you can never do enough. You always feel like you fall short, you wish you hadn't treated your child like this or that, and if you're not if you're not, how do I say it, always working so hard, but not really having enough money or not really showing up as a mom. I used to struggle with that a lot when I first started a business 20 years ago. I literally had a perpetual intense guilt complex for at least 10 years when the kids were, all growing up. It was just so hard. Yeah, so you can relate to that as well. And so what's another one? Fitness, of course. Most women have issues around fitness and they feel guilty when they look in the mirror because, you don't have the right shape or you've got extra rolls around your waist and you should be, there's a key. You should be walking or you should be going to the gym. So guilt is all to do with obligation. It's all to do with shoulds and shouldn't haves. And it's nothing to do with life force, by the way. So guilt will steal your life force. So I've done finance, fun, family, fitness, and then faith. Faith is a big one, of course, because religion has hijacked us in the past by instilling us with fear that we're never good enough, right? So faith is one, again, where we also need to turn everything that we know on its head, right? Because spiritually thinking, you were made by the Creator according to a divine plan, and there's not one part of you, not one cell of your body that's not divine. There's not one little part of your being that's not divine. And just look at a little baby when a baby is born, and it's just perfect and beautiful, and it's totally adorable and totally a blessing and the most amazing gift from God or the universe to the parents. And within maybe 3 or 4 years, the child doesn't see itself like that anymore because guilt has crept in. But actually, nothing about the child has changed. The child is still just as perfect. And so we need to reintroduce that innocence. So now let me talk about some antidotes to guilt. So guilt is charged in a court case. You're either guilty or you're innocent, right? So it's good to remember that your innocence is still there 100% intact. And so one way to access that beautiful innocence that little children still have is by pulling yourself back into the moment. Just pull yourself back into the now moment, and just pull all your attention back into your body, into the now, and just bring your energies back into your body and more behind you, right? That is immediately calming and centering. So when you look at all those 5 topics, just ask yourself, when I'm guilting myself, when those thoughts come in, are they more hooked into the past or the future or the present? Well, most of the time they are to do with the past, right? Where we feel we've fallen short. Many of my clients, I feel guilty because, let's say, a parent died or a grandparent and they felt like they didn't do enough or they weren't there when they were dying. And so again, it's like an obligation that wasn't met, and so on. So parents look at their kids and they think, if I'd only behaved different then, or given my child money or not giving my child money. It's just so difficult. Like, there are so many millions of ways that we guilt ourselves. And so what I want you to become aware of today, we can't really change that because that's how it is. That's how it was literally drummed into us. So how we going to deal with it then? So I'm going to take you through a short meditation in a minute, where I will get you to do some specific things that will help your energies to be released. But mentally, you need to know that guilt is simply a thought form, right? But sometimes it happens so fast that you go down that spiral. It's like pulls you down like gravity, and before you know it, you've hit that really low place again, energetically speaking. So guilt has a frequency that's very, very close to the frequency of death, right? And so if we've been programmed so deeply, we get a little trigger and we just get pulled down so quick, and then we are literally bumping along rock bottom. And till you exercise yourself, it's going to take a while before you back up into your happy place, right? And the change really needs to come from the inside. It's better if we can heal it from the inside. Otherwise, you're always going to be dependent on the sun to shine, or you're going to be a workaholic, or watch too much Netflix and so on. So one thing that I want you to remember is the easiest one is come back to the present first. Back to the present moment, in the now. Just feel your body. And then notice, where does your guilt sit? So that's a good one. And often it will, by the way, sit in the lung area. So like in your chest or in your tummy, like the Chinese often notice they work with the lung energy or the large intestine energy. So it can give you diarrhea or constipation or other irritable bowel issues. But for you, it might sit in your hands, in your feet, in your bum, in your legs, in your eyes. You just notice where it sits. So I want you to just pick one little thing right now of your list. Can be an easy one, like I didn't go to the gym last week, now I'm feeling guilty. Or I spent too much money, I bought a pair of shoes that I didn't need. So just close your eyes and choose an example like that. And think of a mistake you've made that you feel guilty about. And where do you feel it? So let's choose an area. I'm just going to choose an area that we can do together. So just choose your chest area where your heart is. Just keep your eyes closed and drop your attention into the core of your body or into your torso. And then you notice that guilt feels like a constriction, right? It's not an opening feeling, it's a tightening feeling. When we constrict and become tight, we cut ourselves off from the universe, from the abundance that is around us. So just breathe into your body, in through your nose and out through your mouth. 6 cleansing breaths. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And just notice if your guilt has already released somewhat. And I want you to just see yourself as like a little doll. So just shrink yourself to a tiny little doll, like the size of a Russian doll, maybe that size, right? And just visualize in your mind's eye when that old guilt sets in, when you can when it bites you, when it starts to hurt. I want you to see it as a rubber band, right? And where would you put that rubber band? Would you put it around the waist, or the chest, or the head of that little doll that's you? So this is a little life-size doll that's you. You're just projecting yourself and your imagination out there. And so I am literally seeing a rubber band around my head, like my Grada's head. This one around the neck, it feels like I'm going to choke. Around my chest, and around my waist, and then my upper stomach area. That's where I see all the rubber bands, where the guilt is just held in so tight, and it's kinking my life force. So you just do yours. Just spend a minute or so seeing where your guilt usually keeps you in constriction and keeps you trapped, keeps you stops you from receiving. So just see yourself as a little size of a little Russian doll. And how many layers are there of those rubber bands, right? So I've been doing a lot of work for a long time, so I'm just actually seeing a single row, but you might still be seeing like 10 rows or 20, or the entire self might be wrapped up in guilt. Okay, so now I want you to imagine that the real self, the you, in your hands you have this little doll with all the rubber bands, and I want you to start cutting through those bands. So just free that little person, that little doll, free it up. So keep cutting through the bands, all the way up to the head, maybe cut down, and just releasing the useless guilt that's been drummed into you since you were born. Like maybe you were told off for wetting your nappy, or for burping, or for vomiting, or for crying, and that's how it starts. It's taking up space, so just keep cutting, releasing all those tight rubber bands. And as you do so, you notice actually that the inside of your body starts to free up, right? You feel more a sense of release and expansion. It's like literally the life force now gets a chance to come through. So just feel that and experience it in your body and enjoy that feeling. And then take a breath in and out. And then you can open your eyes. So just see how that was for you, and if that released a little bit. And you can do this as often as you like, especially, for instance, a good time would be at night in bed, like when it's dark and if you can't sleep. People often lie awake worrying, and worrying is a very, very similar energy to guilt. So I want you to just get yourself free from a waste of energy that has hijacked you. Not only you though, when you're being hijacked, that also means your family suffers. You'll see yourself mirrored in everyone else around you. And then of course on a global consciousness, we've all been paralyzed by too much guilt. We've been poisoned, it poisons our body. So another really great one to finish is, like, other than, like I said, being in the present, immediately like pull yourself in the present, and then you can close your eyes and just be there for your body. That's always the best one. And then you do 6 cleansing breaths. You can shrink yourself into a little doll, and then you observe where the rubber bands are, and then you know, visually cut those bands off. So that's a good one. And then another really great one is that you just simply say to yourself, uncreate, delete, and dissolve. I uncreate, delete, and dissolve all that old guilt now. And then you can even say from all times, space, realities, worlds, for good. And then what is the opposite to guilt? So like it can be joy or freedom. Freedom is a good one. Whatever the opposite to that is for you. Fun, for some people would be fun. Innocence. So innocence means blameless, you're blameless. And you really, really feel that. Just think of one of your pets, like a dog or a cat or your grandchild, how beautiful and innocent they are. And you take that energy back into your body, so it fills all the gaps, fills up the holes where that old guilt used to sit, right? So you replace that old energy for new supportive energy. And on a cellular level, that's very, very healing. So your body will start to heal. Many diseases and problems in our lives are caused by guilt, and it's also caused by the fact that we don't have any awareness that it's happening, that it's in our body. So that's why I wanted to do this topic tonight, so you can have a look at all those 5 areas of your life, do some scrutiny, have a look at the cylinders of your car, fix the leaks, get rid of the stickiness in there, and heal yourself with your own love and attention. So Hi Karina, thanks for watching. Yeah, so I hope you found this helpful, and just play with it this week and catch yourself doing it. Catch yourself when you go down that spiral, and then you can quickly stop it and come back up. And you'll find that you have a lot more energy and tolerance in your life, and your joy meter will go up. So that's what it's all about, that you have more joy in your life. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'm looking forward to being with you again next Monday. Have a safe week everyone. Lots of love. Bye bye.